Good morning and welcome to my kitchen. Today's recipe, sauerkraut and mushroom pierogies. Some of you asked me for this recipe, so here it is today. Pierogies were actually the first thing that I learned how to make, and my grandma was the one who taught me how to do it. As kids, we were so picky, didn't want to eat much, but pierogi with the potato and cheese, those were our favorites, and she did it twice a week for us, so lots of work she spent. There are a couple different variations of the sauerkraut pierogies. One, you can use only the sauerkraut. Boil it with some couple pieces of allspice and a bay leaf, and of course salt. And the second variation is using half of the fresh with the sour. I like it that way. Many times the sauerkraut is a little bit too sour, and when I mix it, it balances out. And I also like the freshness of that cabbage. So for me, it works best if I mix those two. But you don't have to if you don't have time and you enjoy the sourness of the sauerkraut. You can just use the sauerkraut and omit the fresh one. And again, when I boil my fresh cabbage, I like to put a beef cube in water with some mushroom flavor to it, because that will give you that nice aroma. And once my cabbage sauerkraut is cooked, boiled and ready, then I add my sauté mushrooms with onions, salt and pepper, butter, and I like to sauté my onions and mushrooms in butter. Lots of Polish people use oil, and I'm not a big fan of oil. Oil has a little bit aftertaste, and butter, I think, goes so much better and tastes so much better. So once we have the filling ready, then we'll make the dough for pierogi. Welcome to my kitchen, and thank you for watching. That sauerkraut I have from Aldi, it's German style. If I wanted to use it just the sauerkraut itself, for me it is perfect level of sourness. So I would just boil it once. So I have a pot here, and like I said, I like to put that cube with the mushroom aroma in water first. And with that, bay leaf and couple cloves of allspice. And about the other one, my fresh cabbage. Same thing. You don't have to do it. You can just use beef bouillon or no bouillon at all, just little salt. But for me, it's the flavor I love, and I want my food to be very flavorful. And have a cabbage, goes for boiling. You boil until soft. Once my cabbage and sauerkraut is soft, then I take it out, wait a little bit until it cools off and the water either evaporates or drops down. And then I can start chopping. While my cabbages are boiling, I'm going to slice the mushrooms with onions and sauté on another pan. So chop the onions. My onion was pretty big, so I used half of it. But if you have a smaller onion, one would be enough. I can get my onions to the pan. I can cut my mushrooms, and I do want my mushrooms smaller pieces. When I make dinner and use fresh mushrooms, I usually just leave it like this, just slice them, and they are bigger pieces. But for the filling, for the cabbage, for pierogi, I need them smaller. I need to chop them. And there is one more thing that I would like to mention. I won't be doing it today, but this is something that we used to do. Grandma used to do. In Poland, we have very beautiful forests. And Grandma used to live by a big forest. With that, mushroom picking was very popular. She knew every mushroom in there. I'm scared to go by myself. I don't have the knowledge, and I'm worried that I will pick the wrong one. But those wild mushrooms, what she used to do is take few of them, Pour hot water over, cover, leave it for 2 hours until they soft. Once soft, chop them and mix it with all the other ingredients for the sauerkraut mushroom pierogies. Some people do it overnight. Pour cold water. With cold water, it will take the whole night. So cover, leave it for the whole night. Next day, they are soft. Chop them and mix them again with all the other ingredients. I'm not going to do it today because I know that many people don't have access to those wild mushrooms, and I have only a few left for special occasions, especially Christmas. That was actually a gift from my husband's family because they do mushroom hunting a lot. And here I have my sauerkraut that's boiling, the cabbage, and cabbage, once soft, releases the leaves. So I will pick one by one when I see them in a dish. And that will go pretty fast. Fresh cabbage boils pretty fast. And I did not put any salt in my water since I put the bouillon. Bouillon already has salt in it. And I'm sure that the sauerkraut in jar has sodium salt in it also. So I don't want to overdo it with salt. If I did not put my bouillon in, then I would probably sprinkle a little salt in there. It is always the best to taste it once you have it ready and add additional salt and pepper on the end. It is so much safer to do it on the end because once you overdo it, you cannot take it back. If it's not salty enough, it's easy fix to add extra salt. But for my mushrooms, I will add some salt and some pepper. And also my family is crazy about Maggi. Maggi is very similar to soy sauce. For those of you who do not have access to any Polish grocery store or European grocery store, then soy sauce would be the closest. And that's how it looks like. My husband likes it so much, he actually drinks it from a spoon. He pours it on a spoon and drinks it out of a spoon. So I would add just a little bit of that in my mushrooms. It's just what my family likes. Few more minutes and all of my ingredients should be ready. Fresh cabbage is nice and soft, no more water. And also it took me 40 minutes to boil the sauerkraut. And I'm just waiting for all the water to drip down. I don't want a wet cabbage. I can start chopping the one I have here, the fresh one, and whatever big thick stems I had, I just remove those. Usually when my husband is here and I want him to eat those pierogies, he's meat eater, so cabbage is not the favorite part. I would dice bacon, saute on a pan to crispiness, and then put it in. But he's not here, it's all for me this time. But I thought I mentioned it. For some of you who love the taste of bacon, you can actually add it to that filling. Okay, this part is done. Can put it back in. And now time for the sauerkraut. And of course, once is enough as it's already sliced. Or I should say shredded. You have no idea how many times I have to wash my hands when I record the video and move my cameras around. I cannot have my nails done because they last a couple days only. But I'm not stopping. I love what I do. Okay, cabbage goes on the pan again. Some butter. I have it between medium and high. I want to have a little bit of brownish color to that cabbage. Salt black pepper. Okay, just a little bit of that charcoal, not much. And now I can put the mushrooms in, mix it all, I can lower the heat. Now it will be a good time to taste it and see if you need more salt or pepper. It is time to make pierogi dough. Before I start making the pierogi dough, I would recommend that you have one board for the dough and then another board or tray, something for the actual pierogies, because you want to make sure you have enough space for making that dough and rolling it out. Otherwise, your work will be more difficult. For pierogi dough, I will need 4 cups of all-purpose flours with that, about 500 grams salt, 2 egg yolks. If your eggs are small and if you have a big egg, then 1 should be enough. And here is warm water with milk and butter. 1/3 of milk and the rest warm water and tablespoon of butter. So all together I have a little over 1 cup. And this is what I need for the pierogi dough. Teaspoon of salt. Depending how big your eggs are, 1 or 2 egg yolks. Just do it slowly, don't be in a hurry. Let the flour incorporate the liquid. It is better if you have too much liquid, because you can add more flour on the end. Then your dough will be very dry and then there's nothing you can do about it. And I love the scraper. The scraper is a wonderful tool. Every flour is not created equal. When I use Polish flour for made specifically for pierogi, it is very light. And some of the flours are on the heavier side, so I would need more liquid. So do it slowly to see how much you need. But usually, this recipe works best. It is nice and soft. It doesn't have any dry flour anymore, but it's not watery. So now it is time to put it together. Everything got nicely incorporated. So now sprinkle some flour and I can work the dough a little bit more. And the next step is to wrap it in foil and leave it to rest for 20-30 minutes. That will make your dough softer. Well, it is pretty soft now, but all the little particles need to relax, and it will be so much easier to roll the dough out. I will use a piece of it, so I do not have to worry about having enough space, and the rest cover again. If you could see how stretchy it is, how soft it is, it should be very easy to roll out. You have couple options here. Have a glass and cut out nice round circles. But that will leave you dough to roll again, put more flour in, so it's extra work, and the dough is not going to be so soft anymore because you keep adding flour. I like to just cut out squares and work with the dough to create rounder shapes. That way, I do not have to roll leftover dough again and again. So it saves me time and my dough is the same nice and soft. So that was a weird shape I had. And what I do is just go around, close the filling in. Don't be afraid to squeeze. The dough should be so easy to stretch, so flexible that you can shape it. Put the filling in. Okay, close it, just go around it, and again, don't be afraid to squeeze it. And you will have kind of an awkward shape. So the second time around, go again, stretch the places out that need stretching, and then those ones that are sticking out like that, push them in. So push the corners into your pierogi. And that way you will have nice round shape. Filling in. Go around to close it. You will have this rectangle shape with sticking ears. Second time around, push those corners in and then stretch the top out, corners in. And you will have round pierogi without losing any dough and repeating rolling again. So close your pierogi, go around. You can dip your fingers in flour so it's not sticky. And corners in. The top part, stretch it out a little bit, corners in. And you have a round shape. Okay, whatever is left over like this, you can put it with that original dough you made and roll it later. When you squeeze the water out, don't squeeze it completely because you do not want a dry kraut, dry filling. You want a little bit of moisture, just not too much. And of course, on a pan, you need half a stick of butter. That's your only fat here. That will make it nice and moist. I am almost done making pierogies, so I will set a big pot of water boiling. Water with tablespoon of salt. And I have about 55 pierogies, so I will boil half of them and then another half. I don't want them to be crowded because there is a bigger chance of them splitting. And I want to stir the water so they don't stick to the bottom. Once my pierogies come to the surface, couple minutes of boiling and I can take them out. And for this I will need a big dish with ice water. When I take my pierogies out straight to ice water, the dough, all the particles in there, close up, they get tight, they shrink and close the pierogi in, so no filling comes out. Ever since I started doing it, I can say 99% of the time I don't lose any pierogi. And with that, I can eat them faster because they cool off faster. I will get my ice water aside and okay, those pierogies are ready to be taken out. my second batch goes in. Again, stir the water so they don't stick to the bottom of that pot. And here you can see none of the pierogies opened up. Beautiful. 30 seconds and I will take them out. Second batch is boiling for about a couple minutes, so now I can take those out. And as you can see, none of them split. I think I have one more. Now I need to melt some butter, maybe saute some onions, and those will be ready for lunch. 1:20 p.m. Perfect timing. Finally. Some salt and pepper on the end, and if you did saute some onions, that would be your topper. And I can try one right now. When you mix those two, fresh cabbage and sauerkraut, you will have a mixture of the sour and sweet, as fresh cabbage has some sweetness to it. So the flavor will be a little bit different than if you used only the sauerkraut. Try it out and see which one you like better. Bon appetit, smacznego, and thank you for watching. This is all for me. I guess I don't have to cook tomorrow. I will have them for 2 days. So tomorrow, if I have them for lunch, I won't microwave them. I'm actually going to melt some butter and saute on a pan to have that nice crispy skin. The second day, when I do it like that, they taste even better. Especially the one with potato and cheese. The crunch to it, it is amazing. Love it, love it. Happy New Year!